Alright guys, wanted to show you a new product we got in here today. I've also got a full shop full of GM 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks. Got this new Chevy 2500. We just did the BDS 5-inch lift on it. We did this one previously. It's got the 6.5-inch BDS. We've got it in for some custom lighting. We are in the process of wrapping up this Denali HD. This one's got the 3-inch Cognito. And then this one is a 25 Denali HD. This one is getting the new McGaughys lift. So getting a ton of questions on this kit. So I kind of wanted to go over some of the pros, cons, and what makes this one different than some of the other things on the market. Kind of give you a once over of everything. I know there's not a ton of pictures of this kit floating around in detail anyways. So first thing, this is a true 4-inch kit. As you can see, I'll go ahead and grab the tape here. See if I lay this thing down a little better, if I can get you a little bit better, flatter angle on it. So right at 4 inches on that guy. So very accurate 4-inch kit. So one thing that, or a couple things that make this kit unique, we'll just kind of list them from top to bottom. It being a true 4-inch kit, there's going to be less cutting on this 4-inch kit versus other 4-inch kits that are on the market. A lot of that is the way that they've designed this offset washer here. Normally you have to clearance out part of your factory frame pocket right here. I'll give you a better demonstration of that once we start putting it on the truck, but normally the frame sits here and you have to trim that out. That way it doesn't hit this bend right here. But they've made this in such a way it's just tall enough, and with the addition of this washer to offset it, it doesn't touch that. One other thing you'll notice is that the front and the rear cross members are fully boxed. A lot of the other 4-inch kits on the market are not boxed, so that's definitely a huge benefit. Another thing that makes this one a little bit different is we're going to use an 1 3/4 rear blocks. And one thing I really like about the McGaughys kits, and they've always done this, they just have some really slick looking welds on all of their products. But they're also going to give you these adjustable shims here. So say you want to set it right at 2 inches instead of the 1 3/4. You're going to add 1 shim per side. Now that's not going to stack on the block like that. It's going to actually go in the spring pack itself, and with the new tie bolt, so it becomes part of the leaf spring pack, and then that's just going to sit down on top of the new lift block. Now you can, with this particular kit, you can do 2 per side. They're 1/4 inch each, so that would give you an additional 1/2 inch. So that gives you the ability to kind of fine tune not only the height but the rake of the truck. They said this kit can go up to 5. Realistically, it could probably go up to 6 with the addition of the control arms, but at 4 inches and really 5 inches, you do not need the control arms. But if you want them, they are a nice upgrade. They do look nice, but they're not required at 4 inches. That's the purpose of the 4-inch kit, is to have flat angles, so you don't really have to have control arms. Another thing that I really like about this kit is their non-torsion drop bracket. So you can see here, some really nice looking construction here. So this is actually the bracket that mounts to the control arm that is going to keep you from having to raise your or drop your torsion bars down below the factory frame. So what I do like about this kit is these additional 2 holes, the 2 smaller holes here. Let me give you a little demonstration there. So on some of the other kits, when you mount this, so you can see how that mounts just like that. Well, there's a gusset running right under here. You see right there? And so some kits put this hole, and they actually use just one center hole right here, and it is right next to that gusset. And it is nearly impossible to hit that dead on and not have your bolt touch that gusset in some shape, form, or fashion. While by changing to two smaller holes on each side, you're no longer near the gusset. You've got one bolt on each side, and you don't have to worry about conflicting that same space with that gusset. So it just makes for a simpler install and a better fitment overall. One thing that's also new about this kit compared to some of the other McGaughys kits is that they've now started making their own shocks in-house. So this is going to be their M84. I had someone somewhere tell me that these were aluminum body, but they appear to be steel bodied with a nickel coating, kind of like a Bilstein 5100. But they do give you the provision if you want to adjust the nitrogen, so that's a really nice option that they've included in these. And these are they are building these in-house as well, so this is their own line of shocks, not being built by someone else. They do plan on having these for different applications, Fords, Dodges, and whatnot, and they do have plans to bring a resi option in the near future. One thing that's worth mentioning too is they design their shocks vehicle specific. So they've designed the shock specifically for this lift. And when you're talking about a non-torsion drop kit, when you've got this non-torsion drop bracket that is sitting on top of your arm, that's going to add a leverage point. And so your rebound on your suspension travel can be a little bit more than what it would be if you didn't have a non-torsion drop. And so it's nice to have a shock that's valved specifically to handle that extra rebound that is going to be caused by the extra leverage of that non-torsion drop bracket. So, and as you can see, the way it stands up on top of the arm, it cams off of it, and so it just increases the leverage slightly. Now that's not to say that other manufacturers aren't valving theirs to handle that as well. I've just noted that McGaughys has been one of the few companies that have actually specified that they went through great measures to valve it specifically for that. I do think I would have liked to have seen this shock, instead of having white, just be clear. So the M and the red M and the black 84 would pop off that nickel coating or whatever coating they've got on there. I think that would just give it a little bit cleaner look. So McGaughys, if you're listening, I think that would be a change y'all might want to look into. I've had a couple people ask me about that already. I probably should address the name too, because oh my God, I get this every day. McGaughys. I get everybody calls it everything but McGaughys. It is called McGaughys. I get McGaughys, 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 everything, and it's just McGaughys. Very simple. You don't have to add any extra letters or symbols, or it's just McGaughys. Very simple. So if you have a question about that, that is how you say it. So I'll show you a little bit about some of their differences in their cross members. So as you can see, let's see if I can roll this over to measure this. So like I said earlier, you've got 4 inches center to center, and then your track width change is going to be just as they advertise. Let's see if I can get this out here. From your top hole down to your lower hole, it's the same. So we move over here, the BDS kit. Now the BDS kit's 5-inch. Now it measures 5-inch, but due to the way that they do their non-torsion drop kits, it engages the bump stops. You can't really, it ends up sitting about 5.5 inches. I wish they would change that bracket just a little bit so that we could have a little bit more, turn it down to a true 5 instead of right at 5.5. And at some point we may end up designing that ourselves and just adding it to the kit, but as of right now, that's how it is. And just like on the other ones, on the McGaughys, we got the same track width. And I'm trying my best to get this centered up, hold it one hand, and make sure you're all in focus, so bear with me. But yes, track width, no track width change on this kit. Now, realistically, BDS says there's a small track width change on this kit. I want to say it's like a 1/4 inch. It's very little. But you can check out the welds on this kit. It's a fully boxed kit. It's extremely beefy as well. It's a very, now this kit has, this particular Crossmember has been installed. We took it back out just to do this video. So for what that's worth, if you see some scratches and whatnot on it, it does get a little bit of scuffs, especially up in this area, which is inside the frame rail as it's been installed. But both of these brands, or all of these brands that we typically use, have extremely robust cross members, and all their parts are really. All right. And then we got the Cognito. The Cognito is going to be a little different. So one thing I'm going to point out right off the bat is the Cognito, they package their stuff just so much better than any other brand. It comes on a full pallet. It's got every piece of it is I don't know how you would word it, but it's like they put it in there and then they spray foam it all together so that it can't move. And then before they do that, they wrap it in this stick adhesive wrapping paper that keeps it from being scratched. And you can see, it's just, the level of packaging there is just top tier. But as you'll see, one thing that's different about this kit is, this is their 4-inch kit, is it actually only measures right at 3.5. And you'll see that I'm measuring that at an angle. That is because of a track width change. So if you measure, and I know they say this kit doesn't have a track width change, but obviously we can measure it here. And it's not a bad thing, it's just part of the way the kit's designed. Now I'm going to try to hold that here to show you. Alright, so you're 25 3/4-ish. And then you're 26 3/4-ish. So that's going to get you a 1/2 inch per side. I mean, it's going to move out each hub roughly 1/2 inch. Realistically, I think this one comes in at a little under 1/2 inch on your track width change. I want to say it's just over 3/8. So it's very subtle. It's not enough really to see. Their previous generation, for like the 18 to 19 or 11 to 19, they had like a, I want to say it was an inch and a half or something like that per side, 1.25 inches per side. It was a big difference. At least an inch. I'd have to go back and look at my notes, but at least an inch track width change on each side. This isn't enough to see on this, but that is what enables you to be able to run factory wheels, 37s, 1250s, and still have plenty of clearance where the tire doesn't touch the steering knuckle, because they increase that track width just enough to enable that. Whereas with the BDS 5-inch kit, if you want to run factory wheels and 37s, you're going to have to run a wheel spacer. Just like the truck that we have sitting here, we've got the 5-inch BDS, 37 1250s, and an 1.5 inch wheel spacer. That just moves the wheels out far enough to keep the tires from touching the steering knuckle. Now, in contrast to the BDS and the Cognito lift, the McGaughys kit kind of lands right between those. It will run a 37 1250 on a factory wheel without a wheel spacer, but it does not have as much clearance between the tire and the steering knuckle as the Cognito, because it doesn't increase the track width. So you got to keep in mind what you're running. So we've not tested every 37 1250 tire out there. We've tested just a few and they do fit, but different tires are going to run at different widths, even though they're all labeled the same. So I do caution to make sure that you check the width of the tire on the manufacturer's website, not just assume it's going to be a straight 1250. Worst case scenario, you could throw something like a 3/8 wheel spacer. We typically use Bora, like a wheel and hub centric wheel spacer, and should be able to accommodate any 37-1250 that you need. Now, I would not try 37-1350 with that setup though. So one more thing that I really like that McGaughys is doing with this kit is they're sending a metal template to help guide the cut for the lower control arm pocket. All of these lifts are going to need some cutting on the lower control arm pocket so that the differential can be dropped down. Some kits are going to require more cutting than others. This McGaughys kit requires the least amount of cutting from all the 4 and 5 and 6 inch kits that I've seen for these trucks. So what I like about this is this ensures that the frame cut is made exactly where the manufacturer wants it to be cut at. Where a lot of other manufacturers, or most of the manufacturers, are just going to give you some measurements and you measure off and draw off your lines and make your cut, which works fine. But if you're dealing with an inexperienced shop, maybe you're a DIY guy, or maybe someone just gets in a hurry making the cut, you may end up with a cut line that's not exactly where it's supposed to be. Maybe they cut a little bit too much off or leave it a little bit more than what they're supposed to. So this just ensures that it's exactly where the manufacturer designed it to be cut at. And of course they have your other template here as well for your other siding, so you just have to cut just a little bit. Also want to shout out McGaughys for finally coating their U-bolts. For years we've had to take these, clean the oil off of them, and paint them ourselves. For years. I'm talking like the last 10 years of doing McGaughys products, and I'm not hating. I love their kits. It's worth it, but at the same time, I've been when we opened this and it finally saw that they had decided to coat their U-bolts, that was a huge win. We no longer have to paint them for them, so that's nice. But I think that's going to pretty much summarize everything that we've got going on with this kit. I will probably show you a little bit more of the install as we are moving along with it, and then of course once we finish, I'll show you the finished product, let you know our thoughts on how it rides and drives and aligns. I'm sure I missed a couple details here, but I'll touch back on those as we move along. That's going to be it on the actual kit itself, and touch back soon. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. So we just wrapped up this 2025 Denali HT. This one got the 4-inch McGaughys lift. This is a brand new kit that's on the market. They were just released at SEMA this year. This is the first one that we've got our hands on. I know a lot of y'all are itching to get some information on it, so hopefully we can answer some of the questions about it. So we did a 37-1250-20 Toyo AT3 on the factory wheel. We initially thought we were actually going to have to run like a 1/4 or 3/8 inch slip-on spacers, but we were able to run this wheel and tire package without any spacers at all, and they do clear the knuckles just fine. See if I can get you in there to see that. Now that may vary depending on what tire you run. Obviously you don't want to go wider than a 1250 on a factory wheel, but different tire brands and different tire makes will, mud tire versus all-terrain and hybrid, they may run wider even though they're all labeled 1250. Some just run a little bit wider than others, so take that into consideration when you're picking your wheel and tire combo. As far as clearancing goes, very minimal clearancing was needed, just in the bottom corner of the bumper, the valence, your inner plastics through here. We had to take away a little bit of that felt material there. So I can get you to focus there. Nothing needed on the rear mud flap. Had plenty of clearance back there. We did use the factory arm on this kit. Now this kit's also going to come with their new M84 shocks, which is a steel body. I believe it's got like a zinc or a nickel coating on it. Let's see if I can get you in here to see their shock a little bit better from the underneath side. Now, that is a mono tube. They do have plans to release their resi shocks in the future. They're building their shocks completely in-house, so that's nice as well. Now you got your non-torsion drop bracket here that keeps the torsion in the factory frame rails. They do theirs a little different. They actually have you cut your factory bump stop down. Some kits will actually replace that entirely, and then some kits they'll have the non-torsion bracket positioned a little bit lower in where your engagement pad here, so that there's room for the full bump stop. They just decided to design those in this manner. They do say it's optional to trim that. I believe it's going to be more of a mandatory thing unless you've adjust the kit up to 5 or 6 inches up to a higher height. One thing I really like about their new cross members is they're fully boxed. And as you can see, there's much less trimming the way they've designed everything. We don't have to cut as much of the rear pocket off. Hopefully you can see that there. There's much less frame modifications and clearancing on this kit than some others. And you've got the front McGaughys crossmember here. I do like how they've completely boxed it in. Again, the front and rear crossmembers are fully boxed. I also like that you don't, let's see if I can get you in here a little better. Right through here, normally on the 4-inch kits you have to cut that. You don't have to cut the front crossmember pocket at all with this kit, so that's really nice. They also offer like a billet faceplate that can go across here that can just make it look a little fancier, more of the McGaughys style. I would have liked to have seen a full skid plate that bolt from your front crossmember up to your front frame, just as more of a splash shield. I think that would look nice as well and give you a little bit more protection up front. Just give you a nice walk around of the truck, just see what it looks like. This kit's got an adjustable rear setup, so we can kind of fine tune that to get the truck level, or even have a little bit of rake to the customer's preference. So the kit comes with an 1 3/4 rear block, and then it's got shims that go in the leaf spring pack. They actually bolt within the spring pack, they're not just stacked on top of the block. They actually come with 4 shims, 2 per each side. So if you want it dead level at 4 inches, then I would recommend 1 shim on each side. You can stack more of those as well. So they don't come with that, but you can stack up to 4 on each side for a total of 1 inch of additional lift. That's how they typically do their bigger systems. And then they've got the really nice looking M84 shock spec here. Now historically, McGaughys has never powder coated or coated their U-bolts. We normally have to paint those ourselves. I really was excited to see that they did powder coat these, but I wouldn't be disappointed to see them start doing zinc coating in the future on the U-bolts. That way all the threads are coated. But really nice system. We've been using McGaughys for years. They're 7 to 9 and 10-inch kits and 10 to 12s. They've always had really nice systems. They're family owned, really easy to deal with. It's a great bunch of guys that do work there. Anytime we do ever have any issues with anything, we've had issues where maybe a part's made wrong or something like that, and they overnight us a new one, no questions asked. So they've always been really awesome to work with. Now they do offer an upper control arm for this kit. If their existing upper control arm that they've been using on their 7 to 9 kits, I feel like it may be better suited if you adjusted the kit up to like 5 or maybe 6. At 4 inches with the flat angles, I don't know how well that's going to work, but they do say that it'll work from 4 to 6 inches. So I guess we'll test that and see how it works. A really nice looking truck. One more shot of the suspension. I really do like how there's a lot less cutting on this kit. It makes it a lot easier if you want to go back stock. Keep in mind, there's still going to be some welding where that control arm pocket mount has been cut down for the diff to drop, but it's a lot easier, a lot more achievable to do that with this kit than it is on some of the other ones that do require more cutting. That less cutting also equals faster install time. Faster install time saves customer money, so that's also a really nice benefit. I'm excited to see what they do in the future with these M84 shocks. I'd like to see them branch over to some of their other lifts, some of their older kits even, some of their 7 to 9 on like some of the Cat Eye kits. It'd be really nice to see. There's some of their Resi upgrade options. Maybe we'll even see some adjustable 2.5s in the future. Alright guys, that's going to be it on this one. I believe I've covered all the major details on this kit. If you have any questions that I didn't cover, just drop them down in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I can. We've also got this 2425 AT4 2500. It's getting the new 5-inch BDS, or we'll say the 5-inch BDS with the new 2.5 series Fox HTO shocks. Did a separate video on that already, but I'm sure we'll do a video on this one once we finish it up. We also did a preliminary video on this one, on the McGaughys kit, before we did the install. I'm sure that'll be included in this video. So if we didn't answer any of your questions during the walk around, refer back to that. Hopefully we got some more details in it, comparing this lift to some others. But again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you're interested in buying this kit or any others, shoot us an email, give us a call, and stay tuned for more. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, stay tuned for more.